Okay, so the debate seems to be the best way to take the transmission out. It appears the cross member is welded in. So as soon as we figure it out, we'll take the trans out. Anything to say down there?
Wake me up when it's out.
Okay. Bring you guys back.
Okay, so as best as I can figure, this is probably a mid-70s Ford truck, 3-speed column shift. Piece of crap. This unbolts, and then the trans would have stopped, but no, they stuck a big long truck trans in it all the way back here. This is welded into the car, about the middle of the car, and then they proceeded to cut it apart to make the trans fit. So when I go to slide this mess back to get it out of the bell housing, I probably don't have enough room. Fun. Probably gonna, all that's gonna have to come off, but I don't know. Yeah. All right, guys. Got a new throwout bearing. Had to order it. I was completely wrong. I don't know if I'll post the other part of this video I did the other day, but this actually snaps into the thing backwards of what I was thinking. Slides into the fork here. Like I said the other day, when I took this apart, I dropped the output shaft inside the bell housing, and it kind of fell right here. I don't know if that knocked this off, or when this came apart, the bearing had separated, but stuck it back together, and I can't get it apart now. But I'm not going to trust it either way. Anyhow, this is one of the bolts that sheared off those tapered holes that I showed in the bell housing. I can find them on like a Mustang website. They want like $60 for those tapered bolts. I'm going to give this a shot. I had to go up to Fastenal to get them. The grade 8 machine screws. This just feels, you can tell by the weight of these bolts if they're, the real lightweight ones are just cheap crap, so I don't know if you just stuck swing set bolts in there or what, but this actually bolts into that part of the bell housing. I think they just had the wrong stuff in there. It rattled around and sheared itself off, so hopefully this will work better. This will actually sit down in those tapered section of the hole. So anyway, this feels a whole lot stiffer and smoother than that other one anyway, so hopefully get it put back together. Got some new gear oil for it. I'm gonna clean up this thing. Started to clean it up a little bit, but still kind of nasty. Got the casting numbers off of this. That's how I found the throwout bearing and stuff for it. It's a top loader 3-speed out of like a 65 Econo line. So it's supposed to be a real heavy duty trans. Just not really a hot rod material, but it'll work. So I'm going to degrease this and clean it up and everything before I put it back in there. I think that clutch will be alright. I'm just going to replace that throwout bearing. Like I said, I think either that throwout bearing grenaded and sheared those bolts off, or the bolt sheared and then that separated it from the throwout bearing. So may have had two different issues going on at the same time, but I'm going to fix that. I think the clutch will be alright though. So just going to clean all this up and probably put it back together. News on my motor for my Camaro. I called them. It had been about a week and a half. I hadn't gotten anything back on the short block I was going to have done. Ordered it through Summit, and then it goes through another company, and then they ship it to you when they build it when you order it. they're not going to build anything unless you've ordered it. They told me it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks because they don't have any cores to rebuild, and it had already been a week, so I just told them to cancel it. So they said instead of doing that, they sold me for the same price. Basically the same thing that she bought, that GM factory crate motor. And then I'm just going to pull the heads off, so I'll have an extra set of heads. Dad wants to use this block. Probably going to have to have it taken out 60. Buy a new rotating assembly. That crank may be savable, but honestly, you can get just a stock new Scat sells like the cast steel rotating assembly for around $500. It's a 2-volt block, but what the heck. You can break 4 just as easy as 2, so probably have that taken out 60 and just have it, let them clean it out instead of us having to mess with it. Use the stock heads off of the crate motor. I'm going to stick my Fuelie heads on the new one. So this is like a 190 horse GM crate motor. They tell you right on there if you run like the 4-barrel. The 290 horse is the exact same parts. It's the exact same motor. Just a different cam. They're depending on what intake. So like I said, these heads made 350 horsepower from the factory with the 194 valves. These have got 202s, and there's a little bit of port work done. So I mean, and that was with a beefier cam than what most of the stock 350s have. But I'm figuring I'll be up, close to 400. That's fine for what I'm trying to do. So anyway, still need a few things to get this one put together, and I want to break this in on an engine stand here. I got this set up. I can put slide these pieces on, and it can mount a radiator up here, everything like that, a shroud and hoses and everything. Gonna have to get a new set of gauges because I used them on that SoCal guitar a while back, if you remember seeing that one. So use this to get it broken, tune it before I put it in the car. Don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. Anyway, so yeah, clean this up, get it back in the car, get it out, and this thing will be back on the road, I think. Alright, I'll turn this back on and get something done. Alright, so I got the got the trans out of this thing. When this car broke, the clutch pedals went to the floor in between first and second, and it was stuck in gear. I drove it home in second the whole way, around every stoplight and stop sign all the way home. I got next morning, picked the car up, and the little rubber boot here, I pulled it loose, and this just came off in my hand. It was sheared off bolt heads. Just pulled this apart, the throwout bearing. This was separate from this plate, but it was all, I mean, it still looks good, but these little fingers here, right up here, like this. This thing here, I'm going to crawl into the car in a second and show you, but the bolts, I couldn't figure out where they went. They were these two here. They busted off. I don't know if they used some crappy bolts when they put this together or what would cause that to shear, but that's what it was. This actually came loose. The clutch and everything is still together. Looks fairly decent. This just came loose. This was still on the shaft and everything, but this just came out. Hard to get under here, but right here is where that bolts in. Goes into here. So that just sheared off. Inside there, for whatever reason, this saw still looks decent. These little fingers hold that throwout bearing. I think they bolt on right there. I may be able to pull one of them loose and fish that throwout bearing back in, maybe put it back together, because this looks fairly clean in there. Just don't really know why that would have broke off like that, but anyway, that's the story. May need to buy a new throwout bearing. Probably be the thing to do, but who knows. I assume one of those springs had busted or something, but nope. Anyhow. Alright, so I sort of got this put back together. These screws actually fit in there. Looks like that's the way it's supposed to go. My linkage and everything's put back. Linkage is actually tighter than it was with the other one for some reason. I had to actually disconnect it back here, because usually this thing had bent on me and welded that sleeve. I could just push this back with my hand and slide it back in there. It was kind of loose. Now it's a little bit tighter. I don't know. The bottom finger down here, it's a pain in the butt to get up here with this light. Where is it? Right, that one. It's kind of loose. This is still kind of. I can grab that one. It's pretty tight. The bottom one's a little loose. I don't know. Probably needs a heavier duty clutch. I'm just gonna put this back together the way it is, and wait till I got the money. Pretty much spent everything I got on the other motor I've been messing with. So want to see how this does. See if I got something else going on first before I go spending more money on it. But I think that's pretty much it. I'm hoping I can sneak the trans back in here without having to mess with this anymore. I had to cut these bolts down. This is really difficult to do. This may be a redo. And when that thing travels, there we go, maybe. You can almost see the stud sticking out of there. Anyway, when this thing travels forward right here, it was actually hitting, the bolts were hitting the fork here, so I had to shorten them. Hopefully that's going to work. Alright, got it back in. I don't know if it did it the way you're supposed to or not. There's not enough room to get that fork with the throwout bearing in there. Normally you'd put the throwout bearing on the shaft and put it in and then put that fork in, but it actually clips onto the fork, so you gotta guide the shaft through the throwout bearing and that fork and then into the clutch and in the pressure plate, which is just that much more crap. And I didn't have the muscle to sit there and hold that freaking thing, try to line it up, kept knocking the bearing out of the fork. There may be some special kind of way you're supposed to do that to be able to line that back up, but that fork's a pain in the butt to get in and out of the bell housing with them bolts like that. So I got pissed and went and bought this. I was looking for just the part you'd put on a floor jack like this, and I didn't have one. It's more than I wanted to pay, but it worked. I got it in as soon as I came home. This has actually got an adjuster. You can, both ways, tilts back and forth. This thing swings completely around. So put the thing right in. So that was a lifesaver. I got to fix. Here's my trans mount. It's 255, 75, 15, I guess. Yeah. This is a cross member. I think that'll be right. I just got to come up with something better than that. Put my shifter. I'm gonna clean all this crap up. It's all dirty. I got to clean up the linkage, put it back together. I tried the clutch. It feels better than it did before. It's got that new throwout bearing. I may have to adjust a little bit, but I think I'm good now. Yeah, I'm gonna clean some of this stuff up, try to come up with something for a mount. I think this actually bolts into the trains here. This bolts to the trains. Yeah. This here bolts to the trans, these two bolts, and then this is going to sit down in here. So you need some kind of rubber in between right here. So I had to come up with something. I'm sure I got something. Anyway, I'll turn this back on and come up with something.
Hey guys, guess he's putting the finishing touches on this clutch deal, and once we get this back on the road, then we can get the Impala back in here and get going on it. So I've seen some of the Facebook stuff on the car movies, and what I think it was Mark that threw out the best car picture or something like that. I was gonna add my 2 cents. How about you? You wanna say what your favorite is? What was that? Chitty,
All of them?
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
I gotta go to the store for like the 30th time today. I like this custom Carter key. Roofing nail.
We don't got no Carter keys?
Oh. I gotta put the shifter back up. I don't have any keys to put it.
You're not gonna say what your favorite car flick is? Hey. Mine is, it's a movie called Hot Rod, and it starts out with a guy puts a Hemi in a, I want to say, 63 Dodge, and he winds up rolling the car at the beginning of the movie, and winds up taking the motor out and putting it into a Willys coupe, and goes drag racing with it. Some of you guys may have seen it. That I like that because of the the drag racing scenes and the different cars that are in it. And that if you haven't checked that movie out, you should. It's pretty good. Another thing we do, we got a lot of these car movies on CD. About this time of the year, when it finally does get to be spring, we usually break them all out and have a car night. So I think that's what we're going to do tonight. Start with American Graffiti and Gone in 60 Seconds and Christine and whatever else we can think of, and just watch one right after another. But anyway, are you gonna say what your favorite car flick is, or what? Where'd you go?
I don't know. Probably that Macon County Lines 57 who's running nitrous or something.
Yeah, another good one. Anyway, my favorite movie, Cars, that's pretty easy. Probably be the Batmobile, Munster car, and the Dragula, the Grandpa's dragster or whatever. How about you? What's your favorite movie, Cars?
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite movie, Cars?
Can you just ask me that?
Movies. This is movie Cars. Keep up, will you?
I just said that was my favorite car.
The
Was from that
57 and
yeah,
the shoebox.
So what? It's the same question.
Well, okay.
I'm confused.
Okay, let me turn this off. Thanks. See you on the next one. Okay, so we closed up, locked up, came in for the night, and it's movie night, like I said. I just wanted to go over a couple of these. This is tonight's lineup. Got American Graffiti 1 and 2. Probably start with that. You got the original Gone in 60 Seconds, 1974. This is a bootleg copy, but you do what you got to. And then the newer one. This is the movie I was talking about, Hot Rod. It's a pretty cool flick. If you haven't checked it out, check that out. So it's a pretty good one. The other one, I couldn't think of it out there, is California Kid. Very young Martin Sheen in that one. You guys are probably familiar with that too, but anyway, Ryan said his favorite was Macon County Line, so that'll probably be in the mix tonight too. But we'll probably be up till daylight watching these. But anyway, bring you guys back on the next one. Thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing. See you on the next one.